Uh, Today, of course, is Tanit Esther, the fast of Esther. It's to remind us that before Esther made her big move to speak to the king, she asked the Jews to fast, to get their spiritual life in order. Remember that the reason this whole story of Purim happens is that Achashverosh is having this big party. The Jews come, and maybe he had kosher food for them, but it was not the right thing to do. Uh, that just that because this party was celebrating 70 years since the destruction of the Beit Rishon, the first temple, and so it's sort of like the Jews are celebrating. It's like, what are you doing here? And Esther, when she's speaking to Mordechai, says, I don't know if I can do this because, uh, I haven't been called to the king. And if you approach the king and he doesn't want you to approach him, it would be the death sentence. So, and plus, remember, we're not allowed to rely on miracles. So Esther says, okay, I'll do it because Mordechai convinces her. He says, who knows if the reason that you're the queen is because you're supposed to be there to save the Jewish people. But our salvation will come whether you're involved or not. If you want to have your name, you want to be involved, then you have to take a stand. So she asks Mordechai to tell the Jews to start fasting for 3 days, and that she and her people would fast, and then she could put her plan into action. Uh, this is the Jewish way. First, you get your house in order. Uh, in the, as we know, an interesting thing of the government of Israel, both before what's called the 12-day war and the current operations, one of the things that the cabinet did was say Tehillim, to say Psalms, because yes, it should go well, but just to make sure everything happens as it should, we have to ask for God's help. Even though we might be totally sure, but if there are a lot of things that can go wrong with these operations, as we all know. Uh, and obviously, first we beseech God, saying, let's have our plans operate as they should. And so what's going on is this is going on. And thank God the operations both from Israel and America are going very well. The name of the operation, as we know, is Roaring Lion. There's sort of a reference to that Judah is the lion and that the lion is roaring. It's also a statement that the days of Jews being passive and sitting on the side and having no power are gone. We are now roaring as a lion, taking care of our business, that our enemies cannot do what they think they can do and just get away with it. So, but remember, before we could do that, we had to ask for God's guidance. And thank God everything seems to be going okay. But during today's fast, we should think about all those young men, etc., who are flying missions over Iran. I'm sure they'd rather be home with their families, but it is what it is. So we should have them in mind as we fast, and tomorrow as we celebrate the events that took place 2,500 years ago in Persia, which today is Iran. There should be a repeat, and everything should come out as it should. Something to think about. Kaddish Rabbanim.